Hey everybody, hope everybody's good. This is Shiloh with Glassweld, a live video here from Glassweld HQ. Really excited to join you guys again. Hope everybody's doing well and staying relatively cool. I know it's crazy hot out in a lot of different places, which is causing a lot of this kind of stuff right here to happen, and that's what we're going to tackle today. So please let me know that you're joining us from wherever you are in the world. We welcome you to this live video. Bienvenidos si están en otro país. Gracias por acompañarnos. Hey, Tim. Hello to Evident Auto Glass. Thanks, you guys, for saying hello. As you join us, please let us know that you're with us. The goal of this session today is I'm going to do this set of headlights behind us in real time. And I also want to encourage and invite your questions. We have a brand new process for headlight restoration that we've introduced by video on YouTube, etc., and on our website, but we want to give you kind of an opportunity to kind of chime in here, ask any specific questions, and I will try my best to answer those questions while we do this headlight restoration as well. Hey to Shane from Katie Windshield Repair in Louisville. Shout out to you, Shane. Thanks for joining us, man. Buenas tardes, Fernando de la Ciudad de México, del DF. Bienvenidos. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to start just kind of talking about the new stuff here. We're going to get started on this new headlight restoration process. So we're going to do this entire set of headlights in about 10 minutes. Hola, Bolero, saludos. I can't quite see this little flag de España, parece. And somebody from Texas as well, from Hub City. Thanks, you guys. Glad you joined us. All right. So if you've done headlight restoration before or you've looked at it, you'll know already that one of the most time-consuming things with this whole process is just like the initial sanding steps. And, you know, there's some other things that are time consuming as well. The goal with these new products was to change the game and just make this a lot faster and a lot easier for you to do. So especially for those of you who are out doing other services besides headlight restoration, we just want it to be quick, and we want to be able to get great results that are going to last for years in as simple of a fashion as possible. So I encourage you to ask questions throughout this process. I'm going to introduce the products to you, the new products to you as we go, and then I'll kind of check back and look at the questions as we go as well at each step. So we've got a Honda Accord here. It's your typical candidate for headlight restoration. The headlights are pretty yellow top to bottom on both sides. As you can see, I just ran a line of tape around them. That's it. I haven't cleaned them, haven't done anything else. Just literally pulled it in, put the tape on, put my gloves on, and we're ready to go. Saludos, Raúl. Y Fernando, quiere que citamos lo básico en español. Okay, y we're gonna be translating a little bit back and forth in Spanish here too. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and just get started with this process. So typically with older style methods, I'd probably use like anywhere from a 300 to 600 grit to start. With this new process, we're not going to at all. So si hablan español, normalmente con unos faros así. Usamos una lija de 600, 500, 300 para preparar. Pero con este nuevo proceso, no es necesario. So we're going to start with the first step, and that is this new product from Glassweld called the Glassweld Prep Spray. I can never get this right on the camera. There it is. I got to turn it the opposite of the way it feels right. Okay, so Eric has a really good question. It's, why don't you guys use a mini rotary polisher for the sanding steps? You're going to see it in just a second, Eric. But you're going to see this, and we're going to speed this process up using this prep spray. So what this stuff is going to do is it's going to remove like 90% of that yellow stuff in a really uniform way without using any sanding disc. So it's going to allow us to skip multiple steps. It's also going to serve as our initial cleaner as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and show this to you in real time as I just spray it on here. And I may even pick up the computer and show you guys this real close up for a second. I'm just going to spray both sides, just kind of soak them real well. Let me see if I can do this. This is going to be kind of silly, but look at all that yellow stuff coming off. Can you see that? I mean, it's just running off the lens. And you can actually see it dripping down onto the bumper, which I'm not worried about. So that's what that prep spray does. It's like $39.95 for a bottle. Would do probably at least a dozen, if not 2 dozen sets of headlights. But this stuff will save you massive amounts of time and massive amounts of sandpaper as well. So that's the first step. We're just going to spray it, soak it, let it sit for 1 to 2 minutes. Then we're going to take our paper towel, and I'm going to jump into questions here too, just to make sure that I'm not missing anybody. Okay, so cool. So usamos I would say something in Spanish here. We usamos el prep spray para sacar todo lo amarillo de esos focos, y no es necesario usar las lijas con este nuevo producto. Vale alrededor de $40 por una botella para hacer 2 docenas de focos, más o menos, un poco más, tal vez. So now all we're going to do is just take our paper towel, wipe it off. All right. And I'm just using a little bit of elbow grease, not much. And no, I'm not worried about the prep spray staining the bumper. As long as I don't leave it on there for a really long time, it's going to be fine. But look at all that yellow junk that came off of that. That's all that oxidation that came off. And you can already see that on that side. The difference that it already looks dramatically different. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Just a little bit of elbow grease. That's just the product working for me. Again, look at all that junk. And that's just that one first step. And I'm not even using a sandpaper yet. So we can get a lot of oxidation off without having to use those extra sanding steps. Okay, so prep spray is done. Now I'm going to introduce you to, now that we've looked at this stuff, which is the first new part of the process. Yeah. Hey, Evan Autoglass, yeah, feel free to jump in whenever. Okay, so here's our new mobile sander from Glasswell, mobile polisher. This thing is awesome. Now, if you do detailing work, this is not just a tool for headlight restoration. You can use it for all kinds of detailing services, but we have it set up specifically for headlight restoration with a 3-inch backer pad. It's got 2 batteries. So each battery will do probably about 10 sets of headlights on a charge. Just recharge it, comes with a charger. Also comes with a replacement rotary chuck. So if you want a little bit wider action, you can swap that out. I like the tighter action one that it comes with. So it's paddle driven, just like so. So really nice and mobile, easy to use. So unlike some of the previous stuff, this is going to be a very mobile friendly process. So you don't really have to be able to plug into anything to execute this process. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and actually kind of clear these headlights. So the next step is I'm going to introduce you guys to my favorite disc. And if you've seen our other video on YouTube, the Glasswell Sand 4 disc that's foam backed, you don't need an interface pad, is going to be sufficient for this entire process. Just this one disc, one step, one disc. Now, if you run into more severe situations where there's like a lot of cracks or there's a lot of scratches or there's a lot of variation between clear and yellow, you can use a number 3 disc to get a little more aggressive. But I have found in 90% of the headlights I've done, number 4 disc is all I need. If I want a little more pop, I can throw a 5 on at the end for a few seconds. But I'm going to show you today how to do this with just 1 disc. So all we're going to do is just apply this here to the tool. Make sure it's on like A, B, or C because we want it relatively low when we do this first step. We're going to use our prep spray once again, this time as a lubricant. We're going to spray it. You notice there now we don't see all that yellow stuff falling off. And we're going to start up the tool. So I apologize for the noise. I'm about to go sand this headlight here real quick. So bear with me. It'll only take me about a minute or so. Flip around this way so you guys can see better. That's probably better, huh? You have to see the headlight. Okay, so all I'm doing is just putting a very light amount of pressure, very light, on the back of that, this very lightweight mobile polisher. This mobile polisher weighs less than 5 pounds, about 3.5 pounds. And I'm just using this 1 disc all over the headlight. Because it's foam back, it does really well, even on the contours. Like this particular headlight has a little bulbousy area in here that's sticking up. All right. So en español, estamos en bajo velocidad, hacer un poquito de presión, no mucho, junto con la lija número 4, hace una maravilla. All right, so that's probably good for that side. I'm going to flip over to this side, do the same thing. Again, we're going to do this whole process with just one sanding disc. So again, just to mention this again, we're going to do this on low because we actually want it to kind of remove. So the combination of the prep spray combined with the number 4 disc is largely what makes this magic happen, in the sense that we're able to do this so much faster than other methods on the market. That prep spray for, the little bit that it costs per headlight will save so much time and so many other sanding steps. Okay, so that's about there. All right. So now I'm going to wipe these clean. We should be pretty much done with the sanding part. What I like to do, though, I'll show you this here just so I don't have to switch to another disc. I'm going to use just some water this time just to clean it off so I don't waste my prep spray unnecessarily. Because at this point, we're just kind of removing that stuff that was sanded off the surface. And then, all right. So there we go. Looks beautiful. All right. I can coat it directly from here, but I want to show you there's 2 options at this stage. The first option, I promised you we would do this with just one disc, and I'm going to. We're going to use the number 4 disc. But we also make a number 5 disc. And if you want to get a little more pop, these for about 30 seconds will give you another level of sheen on this as well. But I'm just going to check in on the questions here and see. So Hub City Hustle says, okay, yeah, you're talking about other mobile polishers that have a 2-inch and 1-inch backing plate. Yeah, they probably would work with this same tool. We like the 3-inch because the 2-inch and the 1-inch, just don't get very much coverage on a headlight, so there's a lot more work to it. So now what we're going to do is just with this same disc, we're going to crank it up to like D, E, or F. So we got some speed on it. Now we're going to actually kind of use this as a polisher. And we're only going to do this for about 30 seconds, okay? So we're just going to spray a little bit of water on the lens. Now that the abrasive on this has broken down a little bit, just really quickly, just give it a little extra sheen before we coat it. Here we go. You guys hear the difference in the speed there? So this abrasive, what's so nice about it, it's so versatile. In conjunction with that prep spray, it allows you to get all that oxidation off, and at the same time, just by speeding it up a little bit, I'm able to really bring some of the sheen up on this headlight too. Now the reason that I didn't do this from the very beginning is that I like to use the abrasive while it's really strong, while the abrasive is sanded, still has a lot of strength to it. I like to use it on each side. So I do the 4, get all the oxidation off, then come back for 30 seconds with a 4 and the 4 again. Now that the abrasive is broken down a little bit to get a little bit of sheen. So we're going to do this on this side. So again, the prep spray from Glasswell, that stuff cuts out tons of steps. It's only $39.95 for a couple of dozen sets of headlights. And you can save a ton of time, a ton of money on other sanding discs. When it's used in conjunction with the Glasswell 4 disc, even less so. So, it's way simpler. Alright, this one looks pretty good too. I'm going to jump in here and check the questions before I coat this. So, I do want to finish this real quick. Okay. Very good. So we'll wipe these 2 sides off. All right. We're good. Probably need a little bit of water on that side still, just because it's got some last little bit of grime to remove. There we go. Perfect. All right, I'm going to check the questions here before we do the alcohol and the coat. Hola, Jorge Mier. ¿Qué tal? Gracias por acompañarnos. Tenemos nuevos productos. So, just real quickly, in the Spanish, for our Spanish speakers out there, primero usamos el nuevo líquido que se llama PrEP, que saca toda la parte amarilla junto con el disco número 4. Es el único disco que tenemos que usar. Y nos llega a este punto para luego poner la capa dura. Don, you had a really great question. He's asking about the mobile polisher. Is it rotary or orbital? It's orbital. Rotary, I would not recommend personally, because when you get a rotary action implies heat, and headlights are very sensitive to heat. So if you burn a headlight, there's no going back. There's no fixing that. So that's why we use an orbital polisher. But this has a nice tight action. So there's, as I mentioned, there's 2 chucks that come with this mobile polisher. And one of the chucks is very tight, the one that's installed on this. So it's almost like rotary, but it won't build the same heat. Or you can replace that if you're a detailer and you want to have something that's a little more gentle, you can use that. It's included with the mobile polisher as well. There's a replacement chuck as well. So hopefully that answered that question for you. All right, guys, I'm going to take a quick look here before we coat these and make sure I'm not missing any questions. Feel free to ask questions after the fact, too, if you're not watching this live, because we know stuff comes up later. Hey, David, great to see you. My old buddy Ray, great to see you, too. Okay, I think I'm caught up. So we're going to go on to the coating process. And actually, first we'll do a little bit of alcohol, just because we got to do that before we coat it. So with the coating, we got to make sure that there's no fingerprints or grease on there. So what I like to do is just have some isopropyl alcohol, just rubbing alcohol from your local store. And then I'll spray it right on the headlight. Kind of soak it really well. Gives it a nice thorough cleaning. And make sure that there's no moisture like around the edges or anything. And then just take a paper towel and dry both sides off really well. Good. Just dry them off. Make sure there's no liquid on the surface. Now, again, if I wanted to take this another level and go up to the 5, I'd get even more pop out of these. But these are going to look really good, trust me, and with a lot less work. We're finding with this new process, it's about half the time as compared to the old process and a lot more mobile friendly. All right, so now this stuff, our G-Clear coating, which is fantastic. It provides an incredible sheen, lasts for a couple of years in most climates. So just shake it up, make sure it's nice and shook up. Oh, I pulled it out of this bag without telling you why. So the new bags that these come in are like an aluminum bag that helps to kind of isolate the odor. So when you're not using it, you don't have to smell it. And just kind of keeps any sticky stuff sort of isolated to the bag. So just pull it out. 1 bottle of G-Clear coating will do a couple of dozen sets of headlights. So, okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and get this started. And what we're going to do is just grab one of our applicator pads. If you guys have seen me do this before, you probably already know. I'm going to back up here so you guys can see these. I already know the technique, but I'm going to show you up close so you can see it up close. We're going to first run a little line of coating along the edge of the applicator. Then I'm going to hit the edge of one headlight. Then I'm going to reload real quickly in the same spot on the applicator and then hit the whole headlight in one continuous motion. Then I'm going to flip the applicator and do the exact same thing with the opposite side. Hopefully that makes sense. Don, to the question of how long should it last, the coating should last 2 to 3 years in most climates. In an Oregon climate, it might last more like 5. Also depends on, of course, how the car is stored. PK asked a really great question about the number 4 disc. You can get about 2 sets out of a number 4 disc, but it's the only disc you got to use. So yeah, that's about how long you can expect out of a number 4 disc. If you add the number 5 in there, you might be able to stretch it to 3 just because you're not using it quite as much. All right, you guys ready to see the coating application? Okay, so here we go. Let's rock and roll. I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't stumble over it. And again, load up that edge. Immediately come hit the edges. Edge, 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 edge. Reload. and then hit the surface. Continuous motion. See any drips? Just keep moving right past them, and try to finish on an edge. If you see any drips or any edges you missed, hit them right away. The sooner the better. Then we're gonna flip it to this side. So I got a fresh edge. A little piece of dust that got stuck in here. Here we go. And then same thing. Load the edge, hit the edges. So load the edge, hit the edges. Make sure you get all the edges first. Reload, another little bit of coating, and then continuous motion. All right. Now, if you do that, you'll be able to apply this coating in a shop or even out in direct sunlight with minimal problems. One of the biggest mistakes that people make with the G-Clear coating is just not using enough. You need enough on the applicator so that it can self-level. It needs a minute to be able to kind of level itself out. So we're going to close it up. I'm going to put it back in the bag here just to kind of keep the odor under control. It's pretty strong stuff. And we'll put the applicator over here in the garbage. All right. So that's our entire headlight restoration process. I'm going to go ahead and pull my gloves off here so I can highlight a couple of things for you. Now, at this stage, to cure this, we've got two options. One, we use the Glassweld curing light. You put it on one side for about 3 to 5 minutes, and that'll harden it up to the point where it's dry to the touch. We recommend not running it through a car wash for, say, 24 hours. But if you're a mobile technician or you don't have the luxury of working in a shop, or even if you do and you just don't have the budget to buy a kit that has the curing light, this new formula of G-Clear will cure in the sun in 3 to 5 minutes to the point where it's dry to the touch. So just pull it outside in some direct sunlight. As long as it's not raining outside, you got that option. And it will cure really effectively in the sunlight as well. And then if we have any drips from that prep spray or anything else like this stuff here, you guys can see this. Just water takes it right off. No issues there at all. In fact, if anything, the car is going to be way cleaner in that area. So there we go. So we got all that stuff off. So now the rest of the process is just putting it outside for a couple of minutes and letting it cure. So we won't sit here and have you literally watch paint dry. But we do want to say real quickly a couple of words to our friends in Latin America and in Spain. Entonces el parte final es poniendo la capa dura con el aplicador en el borde, luego haciendo el borde del faro y luego otra vez en la aplicadora y otra vez en la cara del faro, ¿no? En toda la parte del frente. Y es todo. Entonces lo pongamos al sol por 3 a 5 minutos para que se cura, para que se seca, o con la lámpara de Glassweld también en 3 a 5 minutos. Let me check the questions here. Let's see. Great questions, you guys. Yeah, I appreciate everybody chiming in. These are really helpful. All right, so I'm just going to break this down for you one last time here. So the process looks like this. Prep spray to remove all the yellowed oxidation. $39.95. We'll do a couple of dozen headlights. We also are selling a bundle where you can get the prep spray, you can get the G-Clear coating, applicators, sanding discs, kind of all put together. That I believe is on promotion for only $189 until the end of this month. So that's a really great deal if you want to try this out. If you're already doing headlight restoration, you don't need all the tools. And then an essentials kit or a professional kit run between $399 up to $895, depending on which one you choose. But that includes the mobile polisher along with your supplies for doing between 40 and I think 80 sets of headlights, depending on which kit you're looking at. So that kind of breaks down the differences. Again, those 3 new things: the prep spray, the mobile polisher, the new sand discs from Glassweld, all are game changers in really speeding up the headlight restoration process. Really look forward to seeing everybody's comments below. We'll definitely jump in and try to answer as many questions as we can. And I'll take one last glance here before I sign off and make sure I didn't miss anything crucial that hasn't already been asked. Yeah, and one of the questions that Henry asked, Henry, si lo vendemos en solos también. Yes, we sell all these parts individually or collectively as a kit or in bundles. So there's multiple options on the Glassweld website. So feel free to jump on there and check that out. And if you have any additional questions, I know Meadows in the background answering questions, and the sales team is happy to answer any other questions you might have as well. Y gracias con su paciencia por mi español. Falta mucho, no lo he usado por mucho tiempo, pero gracias por las preguntas en español y gracias por acompañarnos. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Hope everybody has a great afternoon, and look forward to hearing all your questions and to seeing you guys hopefully at some of the upcoming trade shows soon. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon.